to order. First, we have a new commission member joining us for the first time today, Adrian Tamal. I'll give you just a quick chance to introduce yourself. Forward.
So there's a lot of people in the room. Yeah, so I'm Adrian. I've been doing property management for 13 years in Arlington with range companies, family owned and operated business since the 60s. I'm the original manager. I'm also part of MBAA, or the Virginia Apartments Association, on the education committee and the marketing committee, and one that I can't remember right now. It's but yeah, I'm definitely here to share my thoughts, my opinions, and help out in any way we can. Because again, it's tenant and landlord, right? So seeing the fact that there's some vacancies from the landlord side, I think it's definitely something that we need to improve.
Yeah. Well, I was glad you were appointed, and I'm looking forward to working with you.
Definitely.
So I'll just do the remainder of the roll call. We have my vice chair here, Andrew, and we have John and Griffin and Sarah, and I believe on the line we have Kristen Clegg. And am I missing anyone who's online? No. Okay. And maybe Nature will be joining us later. Okay. Great. Let's press on. So our first agenda item is approval of the March 11, 2025 meeting minutes. We only have public comment related to Crystal House, so I'm going to hold it until the agenda item. Are there any revisions to the minutes?
We have one small item to spelling.
Take it.
I move to approve the minutes with the one added Griffin's name.
Can I get a second?
Second.
A second.
Kristen's right there. Not here, but great. Fantastic. Any opposed? And hearing none, the meetings are approved. All right. So our first agenda item is the Crystal House. We've had some testimony over the last 6 months, at least 2 meetings, and in between received correspondence and information from tenants. And we're grateful that some of the representatives from the Washington House Conservancy and the new management company for the building have agreed to attend, and most of them are in person, which I appreciate. So I think what we're going to do is Rebecca has been the person who has brought most of the initial questions and concerns to us. So I'm going to let Rebecca start, and then we'll go through the tenants who are here to testify. And then we'll go to whichever order, Washington Housing Conservancy, if you have one spokesperson or whatever. And because this is not a normal public comment period, we're not going to strictly limit you to 3 minutes. But I do ask that you keep your comments, relatively succinct. Once you finish, commissioners will have a question to ask follow-on questions, and you can respond just to their question. But besides that, try not to delve into new ground. Okay. All right. Rebecca, feel free to stand, say whatever is most comfortable for you.
Join us at the table.
Oh. First, I want to thank the commission for being willing to, for listening to our concerns and for being willing to request the presence of our management and our ownership for our building, and thank them for coming. We really do appreciate it. We have had, since I spoke in March, we did have a major flood at Crystal House Building 2 that occurred the evening of March 22nd. So I do think that while we don't want to delve into new ground, that is a new development that's been very scary and very frustrating for our residents. And then I myself had a situation where code enforcement came to look at a major leak in my hallway, and they brought the property manager at Harrington up. She said, "Miss Rebecca, that's an old leak." Well, we had reported it in November. Management plastered over it instead of repairing the leak behind it. Within 2 hours, they had knocked out the wall, found a major leak. And I spoke to the plumber, and he said, it was originally a much smaller problem. Had they attended to it then, it would have been an easy fix. Instead, they had to replace 2 floors worth of pipe. And this is a leak that my neighbor and I reported 3 times starting in November. So those are the updates. I mean, to us, that indicated that there's deferred maintenance that's not being taken care of, and that is causing issues that are even more expensive and more inconvenience to residents. The second thing I wanted to do is read a statement on behalf of one of the residents who was affected by the flood, the March 22nd flood. These residents fear retribution from management and have outstanding issues, so they did ask if I would read on their behalf. My spouse and I have called Crystal House home for well over a decade. During that time, we've witnessed numerous changes in management in several phases of building renovations. However, since the transition to offer to affordable housing, we've observed a noticeable decline in the building's overall maintenance, especially under the management of Cushman & Wakefield. This shift should not equate to a reduction in the quality of services provided. Regardless of the building's status, all residents deserve a safe and well-maintained living environment. There are numerous safety concerns that have gone unaddressed. Parking lot lights are frequently out, making it unsafe to walk at night and encouraging loitering and suspicious activity. As a result, I no longer feel safe walking around the building or property after dark. The building lacks adequate security, and the front desk staff is not equipped or trained to handle emergencies. Construction crews have left behind hazardous debris, including nails, razor blades, unmarked holes in the green space, all posing serious risks to residents. Broken doors remain unrepaired for extended periods, allowing unauthorized individuals to access the building. Trash is left throughout the property, contributing to an increasingly uninviting atmosphere. Maintenance requests go unresolved, and tickets are often marked as completed without the issue being fixed. Reporting a problem to property management can feel like a futile effort. Requests are frequently lost or passed between team members without resolutions, and serious issues go unaddressed. The response is simply, "We're working on it," with no follow-through or accountability. We've enjoyed living at Crystal House and had hoped to remain here long-term. However, under the current conditions, we are beginning to question whether that's still a viable option. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else for you, Rebecca? All right. Who's next among tenants?
Alexis Fox. I don't necessarily have anything new to add, and I won't take up more of your time, but I did want to reiterate, we did not have these large problems under JBG. It's purely an issue that we've had since Cushman & Wakefield took over. I currently have 3 outstanding maintenance tickets, and they've been open for 6 weeks. One of them is a leak, so I just hope every day that I'm not going to be the next person who has a major plumbing issue in my unit. I do understand that it's a tough time for everybody. I know that it's hard to keep good maintenance. I know that there are issues with sourcing, but some of the problems that we've been having, there's just no excuse for the amount of time that it takes them to fix things. And I'm hoping to hear some good news moving forward on what we can expect as tenants. So thanks.
Thank you. Okay. Whoever, yeah, please. Oh, yeah, excuse me. Are there any tenants online from Crystal House that want to speak?
Yes, hi, I would like to speak if that's okay.
Yes, go ahead, David.
Thank you for allowing me to join this meeting. So I would like to address that my apartment was the one that got flooded. So to clarify, on Friday, March 21st at approximately 1 a.m., I heard a weird sound coming from the dry wall where my washer and dryer machine are. Apparently, a pipe bursted, causing a flood in my apartment. I tried calling the emergency maintenance number twice, and I received no response. I tried going to the concierge. No one was present at the time, so it forced me to contact 911. When I did call them, the fire department did come, and the maintenance worker that was on call arrived, and it took them approximately 4 hours to turn off the water. Between that time, they did not know how to turn off the water in the building. And when they did find out how to turn it off, the maintenance person said, "I need to ask permission." He said he needed to ask permission when my whole apartment was ankles deep in hot water. My neighbors were also affected as well, and the hallway was practically a slip and slide. And I understand liability if he needs permission, but in an emergency situation like this, I don't see why he needs to ask for that. After they resolved the issue and were able to drain the water and, clean up as much as they could, I went to the leasing office that morning and I spoke with the management and I asked them what's going to happen because I don't feel safe living there because the floors were damaged and, it was a very bad situation. They told me that my place was still livable, even though they had to put dehumidifiers all over my apartment and there is dust and potential mold that could be growing. And I have severe allergies. So for them to say that my place is still livable is putting my health at risk. They told me I can contact my renter's insurance to cover any hotel accommodations. However, renter's insurance only covers hotel accommodations if the leasing office deems your place unlivable. And they told me it was livable. So when I asked them, what are we going to do? They said, oh, you may have to find someone to stay with. Fortunately, I was able to, but the fact I was treated this way, was very unprofessional in my opinion. And now the good news is that they were able to transfer me to another unit. But what I went through at that time was, I would say, the most traumatizing experience I've ever had in my life. So I would like to yield my time and I'll take any questions you may have for me.
Thank you. I wanted to check if there were any other public commenters that are tenants from Christos before I moved on.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
Okay. I'm Kathy, and I live in Belton 2000, where the trash chute has been broken for about a month, if not longer now, where everyone is being made to carry down their trash. Recyclers always been that way, so that's nothing new. But you're having people carry down the trash. You have trash spreading out outside of the dumpsters. It's being left on the ground. We've seen trash being left in the highways. I just saw a huge pile of trash the other day from, I guess, a unit that moved out. But one of the things that I guess I want to bring up is I do live with my boyfriend and he is able to help take care of me. But I do have physical issues that if I were living by myself, I would be in a lot of trouble. And I have never even heard them say anything about, well, if you have a physical condition that prohibits you from taking out your trash, please let us know and we'll see what we can do. All I hear is everybody takes in their trash. And this has been going on for a month. And last I heard at a property meeting, they said that they had a couple of contracts or proposals they were looking at. But a month out, over a month, it kind of, that's like, what's taking so long? And it's the same thing with an elevator that was just repaired, that was broken for about 2 to 3 months. I don't see why this stuff is taking so long to be repaired. I think that's all I have right now. Oh, one of the other things I really want to talk to is about the safety. We're talking about people not having feeling safe walking around, but there have been several incidents of car vandalism on the property. And I believe there's one car that was broken into twice. So what's going on here? Why is there no security? Why is there no safety? Why is there no accountability for things not getting fixed? And I'm just going to leave it at that. Thank you for letting me speak.
Okay, thanks, Kathy. Commissioners, I just want to pause if there were any questions for any of the speakers before we move forward.
Well, for the speakers and tenants, I I know that a lot of times you got, tenants to go to the office. I know that one of you guys mentioned about tickets being open and being completed. Is that from like the resident portal that you guys have? And have you actually also like filled formal like letter notices to management? Hey, this is happening. It's been 3 months. What's going on?
I haven't. I was waiting for this meeting to see if it would get resolved because then I wouldn't have to bring it here. The trash chute is pretty annoying, especially because we have to pay $20 a month for the trash. So it's kind of obnoxious to be charged for. I mean, I guess we have to pay to get it hauled away, but I had been considering that. Legal action just takes it to a level that is even more onerous for tenants, for everybody, to be fair. And so we were really hoping to get things resolved more easily, but absolutely, there will come a time when that's just not feasible anymore. And we're just hoping we don't get there because it's a good community. There's good people that live there. I know that some people are trying their best from management side. It just doesn't feel like enough for whatever reason.
Also, I have one more question for David.
Yes, sir.
The flood in your apartment, and I've dealt with floods in different buildings. You said this was around 1 a.m., right?
Yes. So basically, to clarify, so I heard the sound around 1 a.m. and I usually go to bed really early because I get up for work early. And I heard the noise around 1 a.m. And when I stepped outside my bedroom, there was warm water on the floor. So it possibly could have happened earlier than that, but I would say approximately 1 a.m. Yes.
What was the temperature on your thermostat around 1 a.m. or like whenever you said it was a few hours or whatever time it took for the engineer to get there after you called 911? What was the condition of the apartment? How hot was it? Was it 80 degrees, 90 degrees?
I honestly don't know. I would say close to 70 at the time. Yeah, I can't give you an answer for that.
Hey, those are all the questions I had.
Thanks. Any others? Yeah.
Yeah, I have a question, David. Were any of your personal belongings damaged as a result of the flood? I'm trying to get a sense of maybe the monetary value and how much that's affected you.
Well, the good thing is that nothing extremely valuable was damaged. I mean, the only thing that was affected were like the legs of my couch, my desk, table. My rugs were, I guess, soiled, and that's a thing. The leasing office promised that they would wash my rugs, but it's been almost 3 weeks and they haven't done that, even though they claim they did. I actually went to go pick them up and they were still soiled, but luckily nothing serious was damaged in my apartment.
And how long did it take for them to move you to the new unit?
It took them about a week.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing your story. I appreciate being here.
Well, David, one last question. Did they offer any type of rent credit or anything like that?
So originally they did not. So I had Beverly Brinkley, who's the senior property manager. She denied any rent credit. And I had to reach out to Decca Noor, who's the regional manager, explain the situation because, I felt it was unfair that for almost a week, I didn't live in my own apartment and I shouldn't be paying for it. But luckily she was able to take care of, a concession for me.
Okay, great. Well,
And I just wanted to briefly add that I believe David's neighbors down below do have a lot of damaged belongings. Is that correct, David?
Yes. So that was, I believe I don't know his last name, but his name is Richard. I mean, like I said, the flood affected the neighbor below me and the neighbors next to me because at the time I lived on the second floor. So it affected the second floor, first floor, and basement levels of building 2. And the guy below me, his whole living room was damaged, severely damaged. In fact, just recently he told me his lease was about to end and he was able to break his lease early. So, but yeah, he had very severe damage to his place.
All right, thanks, everyone. Please.
Prepared testimony for this evening.
Yeah, can you just say what your name is first?
Absolutely. My name is Yvette Ross King. I'm the Director of Asset Management for the Washington Housing Conservancy, the owners of Crystal House. In December 2020, WHC acquired Crystal House with support from Amazon's Housing Equity Fund. As our first acquisition, Crystal House and its residents hold a special place in our organization. Our goal to make 75% of the units affordable to households earning between 50 to 80% of area median income is a core reflection of our mission to preserve affordable housing, prevent displacement, and promote economic mobility. We value our relationship with Crystal House residents deeply. In addition to maintaining affordability at the site, we have invested in social impact programming like Neighbor Up Night and have supported multiple resident-led initiatives to foster community building and connection. At WHC, we do believe that every resident deserves a quality apartment within a community that supports connection and opportunity. We expect professional property management that provides consistent and reliable operational support to households. Since Cushman & Wakefield assumed management responsibilities at Crystal House last year, we certainly have experienced a significant increase in resident complaints, conversations with the county, many of which align with the concerns outlined in your letter of March. Over the past year, WHC has made significant efforts to try to improve conditions at the property in partnership with Cushman & Wakefield. Some of these efforts included funding a dedicated resident relations manager intended to serve as a direct, solution-oriented point of contact for residents, requesting that Cushman hold monthly resident meetings to provide consistent updates on major projects and facilitate two-way communication between residents and the site team, as well as regular follow-up with Cushman around operational concerns raised by residents in our visits to the site. Despite these efforts, it became clear that a change in management was necessary to address persistent issues effectively and to restore resident trust, which is our goal. Following a thorough selection process, we chose Avenue 5 as the new property manager for Crystal House. We prioritized firms that had a strong local track record of responsive, high-quality customer service, operational expertise managing large mixed-income communities like Crystal House, and a management agent familiar with the administration of programs. Avenue 5 has demonstrated a clear understanding of the challenges at Crystal House. We've been very transparent with them about what's happening at the site and is prepared to begin managing next week. Members of their team are present today to introduce themselves and share their planned approach for managing the property and addressing issues. We welcome this opportunity to update the commission on our plans to restore resident confidence and address longstanding concerns. Those are our goals. I'm prepared to respond to any other questions you have regarding the issues raised in your letter or questions raised by tenants tonight. We do take these concerns seriously and are committed to partnering with Avenue 5 residents and the commission to ensure Crystal House becomes the safe, well-managed, and connected community that we all envision. Thank you for your time and for the opportunity to speak today. But I do have my colleagues here from Avenue 5, Celia, Roy.
Hi, everybody.
Gardenia, and Dan.
Yes.
Sorry, we're all still getting to know each other.
So just to say a few quick words, as Yvette mentioned, she was very transparent about some of the ongoing issues that are happening at Crystal House. And when we first learned about this opportunity to manage, what is such a wonderful community, it's been around for many years and definitely has a sense of community already through our visits that we noticed. We want to start the dialogue early. We understand that, one of the main concerns that we saw recurring was a lack of communication and follow through. Amongst some of the other things that we're chatting about today, like deferred maintenance, timely repairs, concise communication, and really just following through and problem solving in a way that's effective. And so little bit, and so we wanted to come here today, start this conversation, really hear from you all. And this is going to continue, but our goal is to really hit the ground running. So let me talk a little bit about Avenue 5. We are a top 10 management company nationally. You can look us up and it'll tell you all sorts of accolades about our track record, but I really want to focus on our local portfolio. Here we manage a wide array of assets. Properties as of today, just took over number 23 actually this morning. And our portfolio consists of affordable to new construction. So if you have construction going on site, we know how to manage that situation. Stabilized assets that have been built. Truly, I have an asset that was built 100 years ago. So all that to say that we really like to go in, understand how a property operates, ticks, ties, that sort of thing, and just come in with a beginner's mindset to assess what do we need to do here to turn around the resident experience. As far as what that looks like for the residents of Crystal House, on day one, it is not this team right here that's doing all the legwork. We fly in an integrations team from our corporate headquarters that will do all the nitty gritty of hooking up phone systems and making sure reservations are in place and rent payment procedures are still ongoing. So that way that the team on site can focus on the residents, right? And as far as the team on site, you know, we've been very thoughtful of some of the feedback given. So we, you know, have some changes and a brand new manager that we're going to bring to Crystal House that we're really, really excited about. And we really do feel like leadership is, you know, it starts from the top, right? So, you know, that's really critical here. A little bit more about the team here locally. We are local. We touch and feel the real estate. I'm based out of Virginia. Gardenia Socado right here is in Falls Church, Virginia. She's our associate vice president. Dan Wilkinson is our area maintenance manager. And while we do have a maintenance team on site, a maintenance supervisor at the property, we also have an area maintenance manager like Dan that can go and assess bigger ticket items, building mechanicals, that can vet the things that we're hearing from some of the suppliers that we're working with. And we can really get to the core of why are these issues recurring and why are we not tackling, right? So on to me, I live locally. I just lived down Clarendon Boulevard for a short, brief moment of time. And now I've got a family over in McLean. Cecilia's over in Boston, Massachusetts, and just a 1 hour plane ride away in the market. So we're really excited about the opportunity here. And, you know, the goal here is to listen, to learn about what's ongoing. And we've got a bit of a head start here. And then from day one, just to really start to get in front of the residents and really straight to hear from your mouths, what can we do to make this experience better for you all? If we're doing our job right, it's going to start fairly seamless. And then we don't want to come in and knee-jerk change everything, right? So we really want to understand, you know, what are the changes that make sense for this community and continue this dialogue to make sure that everybody else is.
I can add really quickly. I think one of the reasons why we were fortunate enough to be picked is because we are also managing another property that Leo Impact owns and Cushwick used to manage that was also similarly going from market and onto workforce housing, also with the same similar struggles, issues, communication problems, also meeting with the county. And we've been very successful at that property in getting our occupancy up, getting our scores up when it comes to resident satisfaction. Again, meeting with tenant association, with the county, and those meetings have luckily gotten better. You know, slowly but surely we have been making a difference, right? And so I think the goal is that we kind of get the same recipe that's worked for us before, but putting the right people in place and bringing them in. Everybody's very excited to start next week. And then slowly but surely, you know, you guys will start, the residents will start seeing, you know, change, positive change.
And to piggyback on that, I've got an amazing team here. And although we're a big company, we were just ranked number 8 with NMHC. We operate very much like a boutique company. The great thing is because we do have 140,000 units, we have so many support systems. We have an amazing compliance department that's going to help with this affordable conversion. We have an integrations department that allows us as operators to spend time with the residents. Not worried about getting the phone lines hooked up or the computer system hooked up. We have trying to think. We've got
Compliance, right?
well,
There's been a lot of back and forth on renewals. Is one thing we heard about, getting lease expirations up to speed. Just, I'll give you a real life example. We took over Falkland, the other property 6 months ago, managed by Cushman Wakefield. We had people that hadn't seen the renewal for 4 months and just had uncertainty. They were not in a lease agreement. We were able to get that caught up. As of today, we are 100% caught up on all the backlog. We're now looking forward to June, July renewals and getting people are able to give 68 notices and really, make that decision. Where do I want to lay my head for this?
We have a wonderful training department that not only does online training, but also in-person training, dealing with the customer experience. I really like to brag about Dan, our area maintenance master's HVAC license. So with a lot of these issues, stats, and if he can't diagnose this, he can bring in somebody who can. But I think we realize this is a very large property, and there's a lot to be addressed. But I think what's great about our team is we are very hands-on. You're going to see all of us there. And one thing that we do as a company is that we have to be on the real estate. The regional manager is there. The AVP is there. Roy is there. I'm there. We have hired a district manager who's going to be officing out of Crystal House. So this person's sole job is going to be to help with this transition of Crystal House. And then as things progress and get better, then this person will take on a few more properties. But it's just our commitment to how we want to go in there and we want to make things better. And as Roy shared, we interviewed the team and we've made some tough decisions to bring in some new people because things weren't being done, or in all fairness, they weren't staffed. And so that's the first part of the puzzle. And we want to have open dialogue with you, with the residents, with here on the board, because we try to be as transparent as possible. And so if we don't know the answer, we're going to work on it for you. And if we have obstacles, we're going to share those with you. But I feel that we've got a great team in place, and like we said, we're very excited to be working with you all. We have a great relationship. If you're familiar with True Ground, we are currently managing 6 of their properties. We came on board with them in September.
And similar story where property kind of needed a little bit of a turnaround, right? A lot of the properties we inherit here, especially when they're stabilized, they're making a change for a reason. And so we understand for the residents, they're fatigued. They probably explained these problems 1, 2, 3 times over. And for that reason, we want to make sure that we're coming in, not exhausting the issue. We need confidence back little by little. And over time, I think this will be about planning fun events and good community gatherings and on the up and up.
And we understand the construction that's taking place. That's a lot. And it's a lot on the residents, and there are things that we can do to make that experience a little bit better, but then we have to acknowledge there are some things that we can't do on a construction site. But we've been there enough to realize what the low-hanging fruit is, the work orders, those things that we can get taken care of right away. We're bringing in the whole cavalry next week to help get that all cleaned up. And as Roy shared, we actually have 25 properties in the Mid-Atlantic.
Done a few takeovers.
Yeah. We've done a few takeovers, and we have around 5,000 units. So we have a number of employees that, we help each other out. We call each other sister properties. So if there is an opening somewhere, we can bring somebody from a sister property to come and help. So having that kind of bandwidth makes managing a property as large as Crystal House a little easier.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for being here. This all sounds great. I'm a tenant myself, so I understand that I'm a little bit skeptical. And just after we've heard repeatedly from these tenants who have been living in some pretty horrendous conditions from what we've heard, I'm just a little bit skeptical. So I would love if we could get reports like on a regular cadence about the progress of these issues. I think you mentioned you had major changes on day one, and I'm curious if you could outline what those are and what the plan is for like the timeline for fixing the trash chute, the timeline for fixing the security issues. We heard that there aren't locks on some of the doors because there are squatters in the units. Like those seem like things that need to be fixed urgently. So I'm curious what your plans are for those. It sounds like you're hiring a bunch of new people, but just some more concrete ideas and timelines I'd love to hear about.
Yeah. So let me start with your first piece on the communication. So I preemptively want to say I understand that there's probably some skepticism and you have been through a few management changes. There's a constant here, which is the ownership hasn't changed. So I truly feel like this is a management issue, and we do have the confidence that we can turn things around. Now, as far as what does that look like, on day one, we'll send notification out to all residents. You're going to get a letter to your door. Essentially, and there's reason for that, is we're going to be undergoing a dark period. Systems will be offline, and we'll give clear instruction to all the residents on what to do during that interim period before we get back online. We're very thoughtful on our approach here. We purposely chose the 15th of the month because we know it's past rent collection. It's past all the normal receivables that you would typically submit. And it gives us 15 days to get everything back online before rent is due on the first again. So that will be just one example of kind of the timing and strategy coming in. As far as the communication dialogue, we start here today. We continue that on with the letter introducing ourselves to the greater resident pool on day one. And then from there, we're going to have a meet the manager event. We don't have RSVPs quite out yet because not everybody knows that a new manager is coming. But once that comes, we'd like to give people a week or two to look at their schedules, find a time to come meet the manager. And our cadence of events is everything from evenings, nights, to lunches or breakfast on the go. We want to make sure that we're appealing to the entire demographic, whether you work at the evening or the nights or the days, that sort of thing. But that's some of the in-person and written communications from there. We're going to do regular email blasts. We do community updates. That's something you can count on. And then once our marketing gets going, we can also put together a monthly newsletter to talk about community updates, ongoing projects, repairs that are in process, but also, community events, fun things that we can do together to get together, barbecue by the pool, for example, that sort of thing. So as far as specific repairs, that's going to require us really going through a list, consulting a budget, but these sorts of meetings is what allows us to kind of really understand what's top of the list, what's number one priority. Leaks seem to be a really heavy item right now. So, I know Dan's taking notes, and that trash chute, like come day one, that's going to be the first thing that we're looking at. And, I don't, like I said earlier, I don't know the answer quite yet. I don't want to tell you something that I don't know. So, but the goal is to come here and at least put faces to names, introduce ourselves, so we're not a complete stranger next week. We start on day one, and hopefully get a head start.
What we do is assess, right? So on day one, when we're saying that the team that comes in, it's 4 days. So we're going to be there Tuesday through Friday next week. And we're going to be walking the entire community. We're going to be inspecting what doors open, what doors don't open, right? So part of what we do is just kind of seeing what it is to then be able to have conversations with the ownership group, get bids if we need to get bids, if something's already there pending, like understanding then at that point what the timeline's really going to look like and what the priorities are, right? But until we're there, we can't quite, promise you something, but we will definitely be able to, have those communications with Yvette and her team, and then be able to, with what Roy is saying, sending those communication out to the residents as we, realize what it is that needs to be done right away.
My question's regarding the leases, since that seems to be more paramount to anyone living at your property.
what is the timeline for fixing any gaps between signing the lease, since it seems that it was an ongoing issue at the property, and also any other issues like legal action if they might be ongoing? Is that being paused while the transition's done, while you're all taking over the property, or is that still happening?
It would, the lease renewals, no, would not be paused. We have actually, our compliance manager is flying in from Tennessee the week following to work on renewals and the files. And we also have a compliance manager who's going to be working the site. So in regard to like legal things, if somebody's under eviction, no, this management change is gonna not stop that.
Yeah.
You know, that there won't be any lapse in that. I don't think we know right now how many people are under eviction. We do know that, you know, on a different note is there are a number of work orders that are outstanding. We know that there's 60.
Things that we can hit
Yeah,
the ground
yeah.
running on.
Yeah, there's a lot. But you know, sometimes we go in there and it might be, it says 260, but that same work order could have been put in 6 times. So, you know,
Or they could have been marked as resolved, then you could have
yeah,
more than.
yeah. So you have those things. So that's, you know, but those are the things we encounter. So, you know, we've done hundreds of takeovers and you never really quite know exactly what's going to happen until you get in there. You know, we have a good idea.
The assessment is extremely important. And just a few examples. I recently got a request to clean the trash chute from another takeover. And we thought easy peasy, we'll get a company out and we'll clean the trash chute. Well, they're brick and mortar trash chutes that were from very aged construction and you can't pour cleaning chemicals down it. You need different solutions and different chemicals to treat that. So sometimes we really need to understand the nature and root of the issue. Same thing with lease renewals, and lease compliance and that sort of thing. We just need to make sure that we review. And this is not the bad mouth Cushman, but other management companies, sometimes they'll call an apartment affordable or a certain affordability median income and it's not at all. Or someone might qualify for another program or maybe belongs in market rate. But so really it's a lot about fact finding. And from there, I think we can give you better answers.
And one thing the President had mentioned, elevators they're really challenging because there's like 4 elevator companies. There's a monopoly on them. And if it's an older building, I hate to say this, but sometimes a part can take 3 to 6 weeks. And so it's terrible for the residents. It's terrible for us, but that's one thing, unfortunately, we don't have control over. Most everything else we do, but elevators are one example of things that are difficult to fix. And so we will be transparent with the residents, not say, okay, but.
I think as long as there's transparent communication.
I don't think anyone is having a 7-month
Yeah.
issue
So-
getting apart.
The county did in November fine Crystal House, the elevators have not been inspected.
There you go. So there's the more to this. Yeah.
You can go, no, I haven't done it.
So go ahead and follow up because I have a few questions which I don't want to email it
Yeah.
to everybody, but go ahead.
My other one is regarding the security doors, since that was also an ongoing issue. And the previous management company stated that they were using outdated equipment for the unit doors. Is that a plan of action to be changed? So you don't have to go on eBay to go look for parts?
Yeah, so again, I don't want to put a Band-Aid on a bruise. I can't give you definitive answers on, is this a repair? Does it require replacement? That's something that Dan, he is the master of locks and doors and he can certainly assess, and everything from a 28-bit metal key to the smartest lock out there. He can give us a recommendation on what the right.
The only thing I'll say I'm a master of is HVAC because I hold the license. But I am very familiar with different types of block systems. I've been in the industry for a very long time and I've done this for quite a while, worked in all different trades as well. Honestly, the lock situation, I have to be in front of it to understand what it is. And that integration period, when we take over that first 4 days, I will be on site all 4 days and I will be deep diving into all these issues. Not only the issues that are being brought up in the meeting and the issues that we've been made aware of, but even underlying issues that maybe no one even knows about at this point.
And not to be facetious, but it was actually brought up by the previous property manager. They had to go on eBay to go look at the part. So that's why I was making that.
And that kind of brings us back to our training and resources, right? It sounds like people that are doing their best to do their job and they're patching up water leaks, they're going on eBay to find parts, right? And that's just not our process. And I think that's what you're going to get from a big professional management company that has the best strength of, 150,000 units, but locally here, we're actually on site. We're dealing and assessing the issue in person.
And what's important to mention also is that, Yvette and her team, they're wonderful owners. So, and not to put blame, but it is the management company. I'm sure that if it's, you have to order something from eBay, I'm sure Yvette and her team would be like, no, you all need to get the right system. So, that relationship with the ownership is paramount to us being successful too. And we feel very good about working with it.
It's no lack of commitment. Yeah, I mean, we see the commitment.
Yeah.
Our job is to execute. We feel confident that we can, but hey, we'll get in though, we'll learn, and we'll be sure to communicate with this.
So as David said, this is my first in-person meeting. I come from, the landlord side.
Yeah, you're in the business. Yeah.
I get, close to 14 years now. I'm a regional manager. I'm actually done 4 takeovers.
Very nice.
Managers have retired, taking over the property, see what works, what doesn't, make the hard decisions, and move on forward, right? I do have a few questions. Kind of what Sarah said. All seems fine and dandy, and I'm gonna play devil's advocate because I think that's the only way to get to the point.
Sure.
The one you're talking about, kind of like the eBay situation. Yeah, if that's known that maybe she would have perhaps said no, let's get a system. But how transparent? My first question: how transparent are you guys going to be about the budget that you guys have to make this changes, knowing that if we have 200 and something tickets, and a lot of them are leaks, are you guys saying that you guys are just gonna patch up those leaks that can, with pressure, with the heat? I don't know if they have heat pumps or is it a boiler system? One system that it has heat in the season and then AC in the other season. At that, okay, so if you guys start patching up at the moment, are you guys worried about having pressure leaks and breaking on those old pipes that are gonna continue to have leaks, or are you guys planning to actually replace risers? That's my first question. How are you guys gonna prioritize the tickets? Because like he said, like Andrew said, I think it's more of a safety concern about the doors more than the trash.
Yeah.
The fact that the tenants have been paying $20 a month for something that doesn't work, are you guys gonna give something for that? I mean, how are you guys gonna honestly save face with the tenants? And you guys, as a organization that does property management, you guys say we hire a great manager. I think this person's gonna come in here and do X, Y, Z, which I hope. As a regional manager, as a manager, that's honestly one of the reasons why I decided to be part of this committee, to commission, to give my input and everything. But has this manager been part of managing residents apartments in Virginia? Is this person, he or she, new with like the new fair housing rules and regulations? When was the last time she or he went to a fair house regulation? And also, what's the other question I had about the manager? And feedback in some situations like this, I think it would be great to have meet him or her here to ask those questions too.
Okay.
I mean, that's just
Fair.
fair, my point. Yeah, I mean, again, you said that you have to assess, you have to go in. I respect that. I 100% agree with that. But one thing that you said, you guys have taken over 100 properties in this type of situation. I mean, at least you guys should have some common idea of how to tackle this. Or, hey, on our first week, instead of just going and walking, while we do a walking, we're gonna check the systems and see what tickets are urgent and kind of like send 5-10 people to do this, X, Y, Z. But for you to at least come to this commission, in my point of view, and just give a general introduction, kind of what may most likely solve the relationship between you guys and Crystal House, to me, it's going back to square one. And this being my first meeting. I mean, and coming from a tenant side, right? From a landlord side, I mean, I think, again, if you guys have done over 100 takeovers, at least you guys should have somewhat of an idea of how to handle this to the question that Sarah had.
For sure. So a lot of questions there. I'm going to try and address all the
Yeah, no,
points
I
there.
can email you
If
that.
I missed any, feel free to stop me along the way. First, on the prioritization of work orders and what we're going to hit the ground running with, you referenced the budget. So I think you're envisioning a scenario where we're robbing Peter to pay Paul, where we're saying, this has to get done, so this may suffer. The prioritization I was talking about was more about timeline, right? It's more just understanding what is critical to fire, life, and safety. Maybe, for example, that obviously moves up on the prioritization list. What is low-hanging fruit, like a light bulb that Dan and his team can just go fix on day one or the first hour. So that's the sort of prioritization that the team does, and then we delegate out to our associates. We can't get it done in 5 minutes, we'll get it done in 5 minutes. If it's something that requires a subject matter expert, reports, supplier to come on site, then that's gonna, within the timeline of things, it's gonna be prioritized a little bit further down the list, if that makes sense. It's not a prioritization of urgency or what's important. Anything important, and especially life safety items, those should be addressed at the top of the list. So I hope that clarified. Like, I didn't mean prioritization as far as like, that's more important, so we're not gonna let the door go unfixed, because I'd rather do the trash.
But I understand that. I appreciate that answer, but like when we're talking about importance, I personally think as a manager, I think that a light bulb in your apartment can wait.
Yeah.
But if your tenant has an issue that has 6, 7 leaks and the floor hasn't replaced, or she has carpet and she still has the same padding, I'm pretty sure there's going to be microbial growth. I personally will think that's more urgent than a light bulb, and I will probably relocate it until that gets.
And that's why we want general sentiment, is that what's important to you versus what's important to another tenant versus what's important to me may differ. But one thing that's very clear is that anything that poses a life safety threat, we would address immediately. And then from there, we want to gauge the general sentiment of what is really on your minds and what would you like to see fixed first or immediately, or tomorrow or yesterday. And not to say that we can do all that, right? And I don't want to come here and make promises. But what I would say is, we can keep that in mind and we can plan accordingly. And then from there, we can put together a plan, right? So we're not coming in here and saying, hey, we know how to figure everything out. What we're saying is we're up for the task. We really want to dig and find out. We feel like we're pretty good at it. And so we're excited for the opportunity. As far as the manager and why, so as far as his track record, kind of want to hand it over to Gardenia. I know he's seasoned, tenured. As far as our track record with Virginia Housing, we have a great relationship. Federal Fair Housing, all of our associates do training day one on that. But Gardenia, maybe you want to talk a little bit more about.
He understands he's seasoned with affordable experience. The current apartment building that he manages, it's around the same size as what this community is as well. And so he's used to large teams, used to large communities, he's used to the affordable, he's used to working with BHDA, he's used to, with Virginia already. So he comes very seasoned. He comes highly, he's new to Avenue 5, but he comes highly recommended by another one of our top associates who works with Leo Impact and that in Maryland. And he is very excited. It's going to be a little bit closer to his home. And so for him, it's just a great opportunity to come and work for a company that his colleague loves. She's been working with us for about 7 months now. And so he's very excited. He's been texting me every day.
I know he would love to be here.
He would love to be here, but he's not an employee of ours yet, which is why he can't be here. He is aware. I let him know, but again, I can't ask him.
Understand.
And each associate, when they are onboarded and annually, we have a training department. We are given reports each month. There is a curriculum of classes that each one of our associates has to take that's catered to their position, but fair housing, sexual harassment, those are mandatory every year for every single one of our. So that's one thing that we really we keep a really close eye on that because as you know, being in the business, fair housing, sexual harassment, that it's very much an important course that everybody takes.
We
Because of
also
the
do regular
liability.
safety meetings, so you can expect to see the local fire chief, police department on site as well. We often invite them to join us. I'm getting a few chuckles, but I might be missing something. Okay. We'll invite them to, not
Formal.
we're calling their regular number, not the 3-digit.
And one thing I'd like to mention is that, our company is 10 years. We strictly do third-party property management. We don't own anything. So we don't put the interest of what we own in front of our clients. We manage for many institutional clients. We manage for CBRE, for Blackstone, for Starlight Investments, as well as local mom and pops. We have a property in Baltimore. Their grandfather built it in the 40s. The family still owns it. So, we don't have a one size fits all approach. And we also, our company was started by Walt Smith, who was the CEO of Riverstone. Riverstone was purchased by Greystar, which is almost 1 million units. And he said, you know what? We don't want to be part of this big giant company. And so what I love about our company is that our core beliefs are to empower our associates. And we are 10 years old, and for 9 years, we've been voted a great place to work by our employees. So I feel like, if people love where they work, it shows in everything they do.
Well, I certainly appreciate you all coming here in person, no less. It's a sign, I think, of your commitment to the property. I appreciate that so many of you came, and I understand why manager couldn't come. I think it sounds like you have a really well-defined process for taking over the property. That's right. Well, maybe what you could do is take what portions you can share from that turnover process and prepare a report for us for our upcoming meeting.
We actually have a presentation that we prepared, and I don't know if now is the appropriate time, if we could plug in, or I can email it to you, view it, and maybe we'll share it on the next meeting. But it does get into some of that nitty-gritty as far as what does that integration look like, who's coming on site, what is our track record, and it spells out timelines and things like that.
Yeah, are they able to plug it? What do you have? Do you have
Gardenia, what do you?
some sort of
Just
Like a quick PowerPoint.
Yeah, it shouldn't take
Is
so
it
long.
I can email it.
Yeah,
Someone.
is it possible to send? You could just send it to Roll.
Ned and Arlington BE, not CS.
2 Ds.
All this anything.
So let me just.
See that.
That's fine.
I'm happy that.
She would speak. She could.
Yeah, that it shouldn't expire.
I'm glad to hear the report that you guys are coming with, but I would like, or I'd ask for a commitment from you guys for our upcoming meeting.
Yeah.
When is that meeting?
It'll be the second Tuesday of
Second Wednesday.
So second Wednesday, excuse me,
Of when?
of May.
We meet the second Wednesday of each month. And that's only 30 days. So I know it sounds like there's plenty of work to
Yeah,
do.
but I think what we could discuss here is whether you'd be willing to share with us, for instance, the status of renewals of leases. I think that's one of the important issues we've discussed.
Okay.
The number of open and closed
Yeah.
work orders, and whether you've held any resident meetings between when you arrive and.
Oh, yeah, we can certainly, that's not a problem.
Are there any other things that the commission?
I'm thinking
wants?
like next month and then like 3 months from now.
Yeah, right. Well, we can talk about that at the next meeting, but I think let's try and focus on the things that are most immediate and see what we can do in 30 days. I mean, all this sounds great. And as other people have said, the trust has to be rebuilt.
And that's why we said it's a start of a dialogue. Like, we want to be here to continue to update you of our progress, challenges, if there are any, that sort of thing, and just roundtable that discussion. And just by the way, we'll have other meetings outside of this format on site, fun resident get-togethers, that sort of thing, gatherings. We're gonna have a meet the team event. So we'll make sure to keep your guys involved in that.
That'd be great.
What property management software you guys use?
We use your,
I don't get into my hotspot right now.
Arlington Wireless is also available Wi-Fi.
No, I got in.
You got it. Okay.
are you good? Because I can just send them my phone. Here.
There, she's literally putting it in that.
I guess, Steve, I have a question for you. I guess what directives have you given to Avenue 5 to assist with the transition from the WAC perspective? Since we've heard their plan, but what are your strategic directives from WAC?
Arnet.
R NED, please, Arlington, BE. R NED, NEDD, and Arlington, BE.
R like Rolda and EDD, yeah.
US.
Yeah,
US.
US.
An episode of The Office.
You know, we, for a long time, because Crystal House was the first acquisition, we really valued our relationship, had a positive relationship.
I love
Like,
living
really-
under JPG Smith.
We, you know, and honestly, because it's also the first acquisition of the Amazon Equity Fund, like, we show the property a lot to various stakeholders. And so to see the erosion of that relationship over the last year has not been easy for us. And our advice or our request of the Avenue 5 team, first and foremost, was the importance of reestablishing a positive resident relationship with residents, because you know it has been tough for us as well as an owner. We initially tried to support Cushman through, you know, finding solutions and trying to augment the site team, but ultimately we had to make the difficult decision to move on. But we probably talk about far too many details with the Avenue 5 team of things that we are aware of and know need to be addressed fairly quickly.
Looking forward a little bit, I don't think this is Washington Housing Conservancy, but I know that on the general site, there's going to be, I think EYA is the.
Yeah, the construction has started.
So yeah, I actually live about a block away, and the construction has started. Definitely.
Yeah. So some of the, and frankly, it's tough, right? Because some of the lighting issues are directly a result of the utility work being done on the site in preparation.
Well, I guess my question is like, how much interaction or coordination or control does Washington Housing Conservancy?
We have no control. It's not our development. We aren't part of that development team, but we have regular meetings to coordinate to try and limit the impact on residents.
And
But it's not our project at
are
all.
you aware of any like resident complaints related to construction at this point?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, we haven't heard it.
I mean,
You guys have
it
talked about a lot
started
of things.
seven, right?
That seems low on the.
Yeah.
It's not their project. Things that are doable and that like should be handled by property management. And then there are things that you live with. I mean, if you live in the community, you know the streets are a disaster and the noise goes on all the time, and that's just part of living in construction. But
The good news is if you received a lot of visits from the fire department, they're like, just, so.
Yeah, but with that said, we are, you know, to the extent that there are sort of major seasons impacted by the construction, like we have recently engaged an electrical contractor because the light system underground gets affected so quickly by whatever they're doing that, you know, now we've got somebody actively engaged to come in and try and find a solution. The problem is apparently it's a hodgepodge of wires underneath, and they don't even know how some of those lights work.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a mess underground.
Yeah, every now and then my power goes out.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
I think we've spent a lot of time on the item, and I really do appreciate everybody's time. Why don't you send it to us, but we'll distribute it after the meeting to commissioners. In the meantime, I'm excited to hear your commitment on that report ahead of our next meeting. If you can get it to us at least, a couple days beforehand, that would be fantastic. Obviously, I understand you guys are taking over. If it's the choice between getting one more light bulb in or fixing a leak, do fix the leak, please. But other than
I'll let
that,
them handle the report. I'll take care of it.
exactly. That's what I'm hoping for. Fantastic. And then I think we'll revisit at that point. Maybe you'll be willing to send another person at least to the next meeting to talk things through. And if tenants want to show up and ask some additional questions, I think that would
We look forward to it.
Okay. Anything else from commissioners?
No, just thanks to the tenants for pushing on this, because I know it takes a lot of time and energy and can be very frustrating. So I just appreciate y'all's continued efforts on this.
Totally agree. And as the TLC often do one report, and it's difficult to understand how widespread the issue is unless people keep talking about it. And so I think the fact that this meeting happened is a really good sign and a testament to your efforts. And yeah, it's good to see you advocating for yourselves. So anything else, commissioners? All right, well, those here for Christos, feel free to leave if you'd like. Otherwise, you can hear us talk about the amendment of our relocation.
Yeah, we'll be right there. Yep. Tuesday's the day. So.
You're lucky that the weather changed again. It was quite hot for a while.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.
Thank you.
We get out, this draft.
This is about priority. Like one thing I was asked today.
Sorry about that, man.
Oh,
I'll give it out.
Step on my toes. I speak once a quarter. Everybody knows that.
okay. Well, thanks everybody who contributed to the subcommittee report. I was really pleased reading through, and I know the latest revision was sort of notice that it's my fault, not anybody else's. Some more comments and changes, but basically, at this point, this is the recommendation from the subcommittee. Just trying to catch Adrian up a little bit. The last time that our relocation guidelines were amended was 2000. So we put a subcommittee together to amend them. One of the main things, I think I've told you this, but just stop me if I have before. One of the main things that's our hard power is we have approval over relocation plans that Arlington County properties submit to us, and we need to approve for it to go to the county board for them to move forward with redevelopment. So since it hadn't been changed since 2018, we created a subcommittee to look into it, just based on things that we've run into, problems or issues throughout the years. Yeah, the last time it was amended was was the year before I joined the commission. So that'll tell you how long it's been. All right. I don't think we need to look at this in withering detail because the subcommittee's already done so. But I did want to give everybody a chance to look at it and voice any concerns that they have. And I think the plan is to vote to approve it today. Or
Yeah, it's up to the commission what they want.
yeah, but yeah, we think it's ready.
For the most part, I just had those issues with those.
That
these are-
weren't in the report.
Yeah, these are the main recommendations. Yeah.
I think I missed those extra clauses. Their conversation. I remember what you're talking about now, but.
Yeah. But this is the main body of it, so. I don't know, but it should.
Okay, I'll leave it to you because you've been in.
Well, I guess it's like what our next step. So if we were gonna do that, the clauses are, it's the ones
Yeah, why
that,
don't you brief us on?
it's the ones that we brought up that were discussed, but we did look further down. It's the order of operations of like the meetings. So I read the other letters, and the other letters is just out of sequence as well. So I don't know if it's just a rejuggling of them, it just needs to occur, not necessarily just updated. But
Well, if that's the case, I think we should not move this forward until we sort that. So.
But we could discuss these initial recommendations and then I'll party with David afterwards and we'll.
Do we need another subcommittee meeting or do we just need the full commission to make a decision?
I think the full commission can make on that, because the subcommittee will be turning its attention to the charter.
I guess I'm trying to think like, we have this time now, is there a way for us to make a decision on those?
Yeah, I mean, if you can pull up the current relocation guidelines to the section 2.6, the Tenant Landlord Commission and the order of operations for the relocation approval. It might just be the way I'm reading it, but
It's confusing no matter how
yeah,
you.
but it was like.
It took us like 4 times last
It
time.
was like the approval and then like the letters sent like further down, but it just doesn't correlate.
So do you have the relocation guidelines?
Yeah, I'm pulling the relocation guidelines hold on a second.
Stitches.
Oh,
I cut my thumb open.
Ooh.
My face, like.
Are you like cleaning it and it just?
Yeah, I was just taking the flowers out.
Ooh.
I have
Did it
never
just
had
slip
stitches
or
before.
something? I've had a lot of stitches. You would not believe that
From
I've had
cycling?
in my
or-
face.
In
Well,
your face?
yeah, I have a few stitches from cycling here. The rest, dog bite to the face when I was a kid.
Whoa.
It was a mix between a Doberman and a German Shepherd.
That's yeah, I was supposed to say it's a big dog.
I had over 40 in the face.
Oh my gosh.
On your face.
All over. But
Are you scared of dogs?
no, I was young enough that I don't remember it at all.
I'm sorry, which section you needed?
2.6.
Anyway.
No, mine was a freak accident. About a month ago, me and my wife celebrated 5 years.
Oh, congrats.
So what she wanted was like knives, and I was
Nice
like, oh,
knives,
I was like, yeah, baby girl, I'll take you to Home Goods. I got you. She was like, no, I want either Japanese or German. I was like, yeah, sure, let's go. And I did not know they were like $700. So
Yes.
I was loading the dishwasher, and she left one like on our rice cooker inside with water. And I just put my hand there. I just tapped it.
Oh yeah.
And I just felt, I was like, oh, I'm probably scratching myself.
So
All of this open.
like if you
That's scary.
scroll
It
down
doesn't hurt that bad because they're so sharp.
a little bit to scroll down a little bit further. Yeah, right there. Stop. So it's this order of sequencing.
Starting at D.
Yeah, it's the approval, must be submitted, then relocation guidelines, and then work with county staff, and then the letter.
Okay, so
It's that
This is
order.
an and letter, which is.
starting at second, usually subsequent meeting, the Tenant Landlord Commission will also recommend approval of the
Which
relocation.
we're updating that language, but it's the other stuff.
So the relocation plan must be submitted for approval to the county manager or his designee no later than 3 months prior to the issuance of the 120-day notice to vacate. So that's fine, right? Then relocation plans that deviate from the guidelines require county board approval. Tenant Landlord Commission will also work with county staff to facilitate communication between the tenants and the owner and monitor the relocation process. And then when a relocation plan is approved by the county manager or his designee, and letter will be sent to the owner along with Tenant Landlord Commission letter with recommendations.
It's like the H throws me off.
Yeah, the H has a few problems.
Aside from the grammar, well, like being the grammar police. But.
So when the relocation plan is approved by the county manager.
I see what you mean, because it's almost like E, F, and G are almost just like notes, like they're not part of the sequence. H kind of follows D, and the rest are just like almost just notes about all.
What if we just corrected the grammar in H and swapped it with,
Put it right under D.
yeah.
Or so.
Oh yeah, we don't have to swap. Yeah, we can just move it up to, it becomes E, right? And everything else moves down.
So merge the two.
No, I think just move it. I don't think.
Just move it.
Yeah, I think
Yeah, just move it up.
H under.
Whatever works. but
D
it was
point,
it was
and
like-
then E.
it was like the order of operations in my mind was like, this doesn't make any
That's
sense.
fine. I thought we were gonna revisit the other.
Me too.
No, no, no.
I was ready to jump out that window.
Yeah. No, that, I'm fine with that change.
I am too.
And so and then in grammar wise, so like, no, I want to get this right. A letter. When relocation plan, when the relocation, right?
Yes.
So when the relocation plan is approved by the county manager or his designee.
Or designate, that'll be changed
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or this.
A letter will be sent
to the.
to the owner
Yes.
along with tenant,
The,
tenant. We need three thes.
With the Tenant Landlord Commission's letter, recommendation letter, like, then you could just remove with.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Fine.
that's
Foundation.
okay.
I have one I don't know if this is the right time to make my comment, but
It's totally the right time.
totally the right time. Okay, because it's sort of on topic, but not. In this section where we've got the tenant landlord commission shall not consider a relocation plan if the tenant profile is incomplete. I get the rationale. I get that it's it gives us the opportunity to have the most information, but I think that is too tight to say shall not consider. I think if you just change it, may not consider, it gives us a little bit more flexibility. Having done relocations before, there are people who refuse to answer your questions. There are people who are out of the country, people who, regardless of what you do to help them with a language barrier, don't want to tell you. And I think that in today's environment, I think it could get worse in our ability to get all the data we want, particularly if we're considering asking people, where do you work?
Yeah,
that's a great.
I think that's a great piece of feedback.
I think changing it to may gives us a lot more information. And I think that when we also ask about, I mean, I love having all that. I think that we need to be very aware of the circumstance around people, but we can't hold up a project because somebody doesn't want to tell us something that technically they really don't have to.
And besides that fact, I think technically the shall would be an instruction to us to not consider it. Like we couldn't consider it even if we
Right.
wanted to.
Yeah.
So I think that's totally proper.
Yeah, one word makes all the difference in the world.
Yes.
Support it.
Yep, it sounds good, Kristen.
Okay, so
Thank you.
And to give you background, that sounds from Fairfax County. They don't consider plans until they're fully complete, but that's an excellent amendment. and we'll make that edit.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Anything else?
So like the first one was just make it gender neutral because a job could change right out to man, be a woman in the future. Hardships, yeah, we went through all of that. That was borrowed from Fairfax County. They were more inclusive of all this information. Kristen, to give you more of a background for those that weren't in the meeting. They seem to borrow a lot from us. So
Yeah.
these are some, we're borrowing some of these elements from them. And then other than that, it was say like the point system, we come to learn that that's more as the rationale's there. It's not really kept anywhere unless we ask for it. So just to make sure that it's also included. Yeah, that's basically most of it. You have all our rationales that we all voted on. And,
Yeah, no, I thought it was fantastic. It's just having done the relocation, that was not a sticking point, but it was definitely a sticking point. It was so hard to get information, and I just think moving forward, it's going to be even harder.
Okay, fantastic. I'm going to ask for a motion to approve the document before us as amended in this conversation, specifically changing shall to may on the bottom of the second page, and by adding a section at the end that moves and revises 2.6H above 2.6D.
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, hearing none, the motion passes unanimously. And I think that was the last item. I think we have staff reports.
So there almost staff reports. So if anyone is keeping track, the budget was approved. I don't know if that was taking place at 6 o'clock this evening.
Okay.
So we'll probably get the results of that by press announcement or whatever have you. So I guess that will come next time. So the one major announcement is that in fact I am getting ready to retire. Next month is my last month, and congratulations. Thank you, Carol.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Carol Williams, who was online, I believe she would be taking over. So I guess she will be introduced next month. So I'm working with you all. It's been a pleasure.
How long have you been with the county, Roland?
24 years.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
So will you get to 25 or will you
I
do
would
one
know.
shot?
Take it anymore. Commissioners are driving me crazy.
Well, yeah, I mean, I have to say, I'm disappointed that you're leaving us. I'm very happy for you.
Bittersweet.
It's bittersweet, but having been on the commission for a while and seeing first Curate, leave, although he's with us today. He can't steal.
He was on the last meeting too.
Yeah, which I definitely appreciate. But having worked with Curate and you for a long time now, it's been kind of a long time. At least for me, it's been a long time. I am just so grateful for everything you've done for the commission and for the county in general. Again, when I think about public service, it's doing things like this, and you and Curate really you're up there in my mind when I think about dedicated public servants. So congratulations, and we'll miss you.
Thank you very much.
So I'd like to get back to the relocation plan. So what has been recommended is, so you approve the document as is. The commission has agreed to this. So, okay.
Yes.
But Jennifer, I think you're on there and you were going to give some guidance on the process or not?
Hi, I heard my name, but I'm having a hard time hearing you all. Hi, I'm
hi.
Jennifer Daniels. I work with Roldan Housing. I don't know all of you.
So
What was
Jen,
your-
the question was about a relocation plan and whether there were comments on, are we providing formal comments on the recommendations? Or not? What's the process?
So the process, so this is, and at first I want to say thank you all for doing this work. This is fantastic. I think you really made some good tweaks. So the relocation guidelines, as you all know, are a county board document, so they would need to amend them. So the way that works is, so county staff will write a board report recommending that the relocation guidelines be updated. We would include your letter. And you guys did such a great job of mapping out the rationale for these changes. It'll be really easy for us. So that's essentially the process. It usually takes a month or two to get on the board agenda and get this moving. So I don't know what your timing is, but anyway, thanks again for doing that. So I guess from this point, staff will, I guess, review all the recommendations, make sure that we're on the same page with them, and then we can sort of start drafting that. If you guys want to, I don't know if the best step, I guess the best thing would be for you all to kind of maybe write a letter to, probably to the county manager or probably to Ann Venezia, who's the housing director, who's actually the current approver, and outline this memo. That would be great. And then we can really use it to kind of move it through. So again, thank you. I think this, the increase in payment, I think is great. I think there's a lot of pieces that'll be really helpful.
Okay, yeah, we'll direct the letter accordingly and then await an update, sadly not from Rolda, from staff, or when it goes to the.
I know, but Kara's great. And actually, while I have the floor, can I make a quick announcement? You all might have said this at the beginning. So our annual tenant summit is happening on May 17th, and we would love for you all to come. I'm not sure if we've actually officially invited anyone yet, but usually we have someone from the TLC, hopefully David or Andrew, or anyone who can come to kind of do some welcoming words. If you haven't been before, so it's on a Saturday, it's May 17th, it's 10 to 2. And we really design it in response to what we hear from tenants. What are some issues? What are some things that they want to know about? So we'll have a flyer soon and we will forward that to you also. Please do share that with your networks and please do come. But so we're going to be focusing on tenant rights and responsibilities. We're going to be doing a session on county resources. Hector's going to be doing a quick session on sort of demystifying jargon. So when we talk about CAFs and AMI and things like that. This year we're adding a session on fair housing because we've heard from a lot of our colleagues that there's still a lot of issues with that and we really need to be educating. So it'll be great. So hopefully you all can come and share with your networks. So sorry to hijack, but thank you.
Thank you. And I think Andrew and I were there last year and it was a really good presentation. So I recommend it. Is it going to be at the same place?
It's not. It's going to be where it was 2 years ago, which is it Alice West Fleet or Alice Fleet West Elementary down on Old Glebe Road?
Oh, sure. Okay. Yeah. Great. Anything else, Rolda, from you?
Nothing else.
You have no parting words of wisdom?
Maybe I have to make it next item.
All right. Well, we'll look forward to meeting Kara, you said. And
yes, Kara, she has people when she's
and maybe at some point you'll come back and visit us.
Hopefully not the complaint.
We're never letting her leave.
Hopefully she'll be on a nice beach somewhere.
Yeah, she's thinking about it, yeah. All right, fair enough. Well, then can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. And all those, anyone opposed? Fantastic. I didn't really pause there, did I? Hearing none, that concludes the April 9th, 2025 meeting of the Tenant Landlord Commission.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.